Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first of many, many rounds to come here in the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. I am your host and commentator for the championship, STM_RRDZ. And first of all, welcome to the first round of many, many championship races to come here for the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship, where we first start off with the Pro-Am category here. That is right, we will have the Pro-Ams take part around the Mount Panorama circuit, and then we will have the Pro guys step their way onto the track. So let's take a quick look down at the field before. There's an incident right there out of turn number 4, I assume. So let's start off with the currently fastest guy on the track at the moment, and this is the two-time and defending Pro-Am champion, Kyle 22, in the slightly revised Aston Martin V12 Vantage that he has used for many, many seasons in former GT3 championships under the same, well, different management obviously, but the same format is still here, obviously. So qualifying first for about roughly, I gotta say, about 10 minutes, and then we will have a 40-minute, we will have a 60-minute race start then, and then we will have a second set of pro drivers come in, and that race will take part for another 60 minutes as well. So 60-minute races now over the standard 40 minutes that have been the norm here in the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship, and all things to consider here for the championship right here. So as we go down the field, this is Kyle, of course, two-time and defending Pro-Am championship. He will be the one to keep an eye out for in this race. Then we move on to Elliot Fageter, who of course is parked up at turn 1 with Supra Boy 580R, and then we go to Patrolhead in the first of the Haas-sponsored Corvettes here. I can't really get a number on that car as I speak. Number 44, as he just gets into the wall right there. And then we have, I hope I said this correct, Thiamaga in the pink Ferrari, of course. I can't really get a number on that as I speak. We'll get back to that in a minute. And then, of course, B75 PR, who was just in the BMW for preseason evaluations, has now joined with the Corvette, of course, the number 27. So that will be a strong lineup to take a look at. Then, sorry, I got no ID in the number 16 McLaren 650S. The 650S hasn't been that prominent in a majority of the Gran Turismo Sport Championships around the world, obviously. So a strong showing for currently the 7th fastest guy on track right now. Is a very good showing right there. And then the sister car of Grand J10, the number 15 McLaren right now. That's the black and green McLaren right there. The first one is the black and orange, but we got the Grand J10 in the black and green car. And then we have next is Mushala in the Porsche 911 RSR, still from the preseason evaluation testing, and that is currently the 9 that is setting laps at the moment on track. So let's take a moment to go out into the messages here for the race. So, from TIJSR, who do you reckon will get pole? In my opinions, I'm going to have to hand it out to Kyle right there. He has been the man to beat in Pro-Am for basically the past 2 seasons right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he got pole, but there is a slight chance for the other competition to slide their way on up there and, of course, get pole position. So that will be something to take a look at, obviously. So let's go to Thiamaga here in the pink Ferrari right now. He didn't do preseason evaluation testing, obviously, but he was using the 23 Ferrari to get some track time and to have a run in this Pro-Am Championship, obviously, excuse me there. And, of course, so that is the other straight line motor. So that is Chris the Crow in the second Ferrari, the number 71, I assume. And as we flick through the field, obviously. So qualifying starting in about 5 minutes time now. So we will see these cars come to life here, and it's going to be very, very interesting. So ETHBoy77 posts here, who's your favorite for the podium? I'm Polymer0803205, by the way. So, since this is my first time commentating, of course, I have driven in this championship in the past for about 2 to 3 races, I assume. I'd say it's a fresh start. Anything can happen in this championship. So I'm gonna say no comment to that question because, of course, it is the first time that we are seeing these guys run in the championship. And so anything can happen within the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship, especially when it's the first round of the championship. So about 3 minutes time till qualifying. Oh, and that's a massive hit right there for the number 40 for the 27 Corvette. I apologize right there. And Superboy 850R, 580R in the previous gen Mercedes SLS AMG GT3. So some of these older chassis are still getting some use out of them in some GT3 championships. Alt Maverick has joined the room, of course. We will find out which vehicle he will be running in. Let me see if I can be able to get it right in front of my phone here. So, AI Maverick, that's the Pro tier lineup. So Alt Maverick will be partnering next as Mouchalot in the second Porsche 911 RSR. So, let's take a quick moment here to see how many we have in the lobby. So we have 12 people on track. We have 12 people in the lobby. So that reduces my spot in the lobby for about 9 people on track and 11 people racing in today's race. So this will be very, very interesting field of cars nonetheless in a packed 15 car grid. Of all the entries I have not seen, I have not seen Dude as of yet. I have not seen... actually, scratch that. Remove Elliot's entry. I apologize there because it looks like to be... We're having 13 entries here in today's running. So we have 2 currently that are not part of the racetrack yet. That is Dude in the second Aston Martin partnering Kyle, and then we have Cameron 75, which will be fielding the lone SRT Viper GT3R here today. So we flick through the field once again. Of course, they're on softs, but I assume they'll be on super softs as well, or on the mediums. I have to double check that off the top of my head as I speak. Sorry, I got no ID, is coming into the pits. There is Alt Maverick right there in the number 41, and probably the most elegant looking livery of the Pro-Am category right there. That looks like a very interesting livery. Nonetheless, it kind of looks like a mix of the Martini livery and a mix of the Falcon livery and just the blue and red. Oh, blue, white, and red, and that's not going to be good right there as he picks up a penalty for an incident with the wall. He moves out of the way to clear the penalty. So it is about 12:45 time right now. And I thank again Adrian Kennedy for confirming that these cars use mediums and soft tires, so I appreciate that, Adrian, in the chat. So now we wait on our way for qualifying right now. So we wait for Elliot Fageter as he will be running in the Pro category. Let me just double check that. Yes, he will be running in the Pro-Am category for this race. So we wait for his call for when qualifying is about to start. Then again, Kyle 22 in the defending Pro-Am championship winning car. He does have the experience and the speed under his belt, so he will be the one to keep a lookout for this qualifying session. And there is Wide Load Billy. That is the other driver that I forgot his name to. So there is the message for qualifying. Remember to use your left hazard indicator. Use your oh, I'm sorry about that. Ooh, and LK Kyle has probably cut the course somewhere and has definitely picked up a penalty of some kind. So that will be interesting. Ooh, and that would be interesting right there. So the chat feature now closed on the in-game chat. There are no medium tires. So let's just wait and see what everyone else is going to be using. Let's just check everyone's at the moment. It looks like everyone is on soft, so that is not a good way And there are still questions being asked in the Straight Line Motorsports in-game chat, so we do ask to please hold off on that, and you ask all your questions on the Straight Line Motorsports Discord, please, for all drivers that are listening to the commentary. So as we wait for qualifying to start, qualifying starts at 5:45. The race should get underway at 5:55. So I assume, since we're 2 minutes behind qualifying, I'm not sure what Elliott is in fact doing, so I have to take a look at that. He is typing, so we just wait for the qualifying to start. So while we wait for qualifying, I will take the... Actually, let's take one more second to take a look at Wilo Billy's car, who is still running it from the preseason evaluation, of course. He did have some trouble during the preseason evaluation test, but hopefully he's had the time and the patience to sort all those gremlins on out, and obviously have a strong showing for the race. Strong showing from Kyle, who has set a 2:02.971, who is 1.8 seconds fastest from the race. So now we start qualifying for about 10 minutes now. This will be the session to watch out for a lot of these quick drivers, including Kyle, who has actually bended off before Skyline, so that is not good news there. So there is the qualifier indicator for that will last about 10 minutes now. Qualifying has started now. Cars can take to the track. Who is the first one out on track? It will be Sorry I Got No ID. He will be the first car in the number 16 McLaren to take part. And he will actually wait. Oh, and you don't want to do that on close real estate right there. So now as we take a look at the cars here. Oh, and it looks like some of the guys might be having the pit glitch, so that's not good news there. Yeah, this session might have to be restarted. Let me type that out there real quickly so everyone knows. That is not good news there. So 2 cars having the pit glitch. So that is not good news there. It's Krista Crow and it is Alt Maverick, so I'm afraid they are going to have to restart their systems, unfortunately. Oh, that's not good news right there. I'm not sure if that is going to freeze qualifying, but we will just have to wait and see, of course. So for those guys, Alt Maverick and Krista Crow, I would advise you guys to back out of this session, and the qualifying has been red flagged, so the field has been slowed and neutralized for the 2 cars that are on the track. The drivers have been asked to come back to the pits. Oh, and there's well, I mean, it doesn't matter now because the qualifying has ended, so these drivers are going to be expected to come out and back out of the session, I'm afraid. So now all the drivers have come to the pits, and we wait for the lead steward for this Pro-Am category, Elliott Faggoter, to decide on what he wants to do. Going back to the messages here, Uri 11 betting Kyle for pole. Like I said, that would not be a surprise, but there is that slight bit of chance that is going to happen. So we are leaving the session right now, so I assume the session is going to be refired within a couple of minutes. James Head saying Kyle on paper should be the quickest, but watch out for Mushala. Specializes in racing and GT Sport. Regarding the pit glitch, Mavericks and Chris should just leave and rejoin. I think they could be able to leave and rejoin if the session was not in the qualifier. So qualifying has been canceled for now. We will hop back into that in a second. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to take at least 2 to 3 minutes off the qualifying, so that will be sending basically everyone out onto the track for their hot laps. So good luck to the Pro-Am guys, and good luck, gents, from Hair Razor and Doug Barrow, of course. So while we wait for qualifying to sort out, we of course have about, let me take a look here again real quickly. We've got about 9 fellas watching the Pro-Am live stream from round 1, so appreciate to all you guys coming on. What happened to all the drivers? The session was red flagged, Doug Barrow, for 2 drivers unfortunately having the pit glitch. So the qualifying has been red flagged and stopped, so I assume it's going to be restarted here shortly. So the guy's now getting back on the track. The SLS is competitive. Yeah, it is a pretty good car, reminding me back of the days on GT6, of course. It was personally my favorite GT3 car to use back on GT6, but then the upgraded AMG GT3, of course, taking its place. But then you have the GT3 Evo, which in my opinion looks like a ripoff of Kirby, of course. So, I say that because of the one picture where it's saying spot difference with the new AMG and with Kirby. So if you don't know that picture, I would recommend looking it up on the internet, of course. So now we have about 11 people on the grid. I assume everyone has had their problems sorted out. 13 in the lobby, 11 on track. And we will wait for qualifying to get started once again. Of course, Chris the Crow in the Blancpain sponsored Ferrari 458 GT3. It looks very, very nice indeed. The number 71 Ferrari, of course, partnering to, let's see if I can find his name, Thiamaga. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I'm not, but that's what I'm going to go off of for the time being. Now, of course, these drivers, now, with the pit glitch that's happened, they have one last bit of practice before qualifying does get underway, so it will be interesting to take a look at. Qualifier has started again. I give the commentators Chris right about there, and we wait for qualifying to kick off once again, and hopefully everything gets the way everyone and everything goes to plan. The qualifier has begun, so about 10 minutes now, once again on the clock right now, the field scurrying their way out of the pit lane and hoping to get their fastest laps on in. And of course we have Thiamaga once again in having the pit glitch, and I'm not sure if anyone else is having that pit glitch besides him. Oh, unfortunately it is Alt Maverick once again. Oh, so that's another issue. Yep, once again, the session has been red flagged, so again, qualifying has had its short notices. So, to Thiamaga and to Alt Maverick, I would recommend leaving the lobby ASAP. Let me type in... Yeah, unfortunately, they might have to restart their system. So all drivers having to leave and to rejoin real quickly, unfortunately. Yeah, James said that would be a possibility right there of clearing the cache. Yeah, because it removes all their temporary data. So that might be the hot fix currently, but then the best fix, of course, is having to completely close down the system and, of course, refiring it, unfortunately. So now while we wait for qualifying and all problems to be sorted out, I will take the couple of minutes to step away from the commentary box, and I will get back to you guys as soon as qualifying has started. So I step away from the commentary box, of course, for a brief minute or two, and we have qualifying now to start, which is very, very nice indeed. So hopefully third time is the charm here for these guys, and oh, unfortunately it is not. So that is not good news for Thiamaga, and I assume Alt Maverick, hopefully. Oh, it's not good news again, so I am going to probably have... I assume Elliot is going to have to ask them, Thiamaga for sure, to back out and probably close down the system. It's just not good timing right there, of course. Yeah, it looks like Alt Maverick has gone underway this time, but unfortunately Thiamaga will have to be the one who is unfortunately going to be the unlucky victim here. So that's not good news there, but we do resume with the rest of the grid, unfortunately, there. Of course, Thiamaga will most likely have to be starting at the back of the grid as I speak, but already some of these guys, Patrolhead and Kyle, of course, oh, they're getting super, super close to one another here for the start of qualifying. Oh, and there was a massive contact right there as I look away. It looks like the rear end of Patrolhead just completely got sent flying into the wall. That was a massive hit right there, and I assume Kyle has gone away from that surprisingly unscathed right there. Yeah, Patrolhead's gonna have to take it slowly because he's got the rest. Because he's got basically 8 other cars coming down his way. So we don't go down the rest of the grid. We at least have one Ferrari that's shy. Oh, and his Grand J10, oh, is completely getting it wrong, unfortunately, there. So this is the start of qualifying. Kyle, 22, we'll take you on his first hot lap here of Mount Panorama. First turn 1, going to Hell Corner. This is a second gear corner right here. It's a very strong exit out of there. Now this is the Mountain Straight, where you put the pedal to the metal after the first corner, riding yourself onto Griffin's Bend, which is the turn number 3. Comes up pretty quickly, of course, but you don't think it comes quick, but it will come sooner than later. You want to brake forward just before the 50-meter board right there. Very good. And then you want to hug the apex, then quickly get as close as you can to the wall. Turn number 3, of course, and then the cutting for turn number 4, which leads you to turn number 5 for a quarry corner right there. And then it takes you to turn 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then after turn 9 will be Solomons Park. So this is turn number 9 now. Then turn number 9 now. So then Solomons Park, and then McPhilmy Park, turn number 10. And then you get to Skyline, and then to the S's for turns 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So Skyline now. So turns 12, 13, 14, and 15, and 16 now. He gets close onto the dipper. Turn 17 and 18 for coming up. Force elbow now before the long Conrad straight now. Puts the pedals right now. This is where you want to maximize your power advantage right about here and hold it until basically you get until the chase for turns 20, 21, and 22. We're going over the crest now. Still a very, very long straightaway still ahead of you, but you get that little kink into the chase. Brake about the 150, 100 meter board. Very good brakes on these Aston Martin V12 Vantages, of course. And then Murray's Corner, the final corner, turn number 23. This is a very corner-heavy course, which can be very, very, very close indeed. Oh, and it gets a little slippery out of that final corner, so this ain't going to be his best lap, but what's it going to be for Kyle 22 in the Aston Martin? It is going to be a 2:03.4 for the defending Pro-Am champion. Let's take a look at the rest of the field now. What's it going to be for the next guy behind? And it's going to be, for Patrolhead, it's going to be a 2:04.6, so 1.145 off the pace. Next guy, the partnering 27 of Patrolhead in B75. What's he got in store for the number 27 Corvette? And it's going to be, a very slow 2:10.7, so he's had a bit of a mishap somewhere. Sorry, got no ID up next. What's he got in store for the McLaren 650S? The number 16 right there is a 2:25, so a lot of these guys barely struggling with their qualifying at the moment, so this is not good. A 207.2 for Supra Boy. And then Wilo Billy with a 206.7, so a very strong showing right there. Next is Mushalat in a 216.0. Next guy up, Grand Chain 10, 206.315. That puts him third top of the times. A 217.7 for Alt Maverick, so that's not good news for a lot of these guys, unfortunately. Krista Crow, what has he got in store for the 71 Ferrari? A 209.5 puts him 6th fastest at the moment. So a very spread out field, of course, for Kyle. It looked like he might not have had the luck, but according to the rest of the field, it hasn't worked out. It has really well worked out for him. So he is on another hot lap at the moment. I can't tell how quick he is right now at the moment, but we will take a look in a minute here. He's 1.26 seconds off the pace. And with about less than 4 minutes left in qualifying, I expect things to get really, really heated up here within these next couple of laps. So about 2 laps maximum, I want to say, because you are able to finish up your laps and it will hop straight into the race. Rounding the final corner right now, Murray's corner. What's Kyle got in store right now for his improved time? Maybe it is going to be a 2:04.1, so he's just 7/10 shy of his fastest lap right now. So while we wait for Kyle to set another lap, we go to Patrolhead, of course, who is setting another fast lap, who is setting a 2:07 right now at Murray. So he's had an incident somewhere on track, unfortunately. Oh, and he's just not doing it right. So we wait for... He's got about 2 more laps still, but it is still very, very packed here. What's it going to be for these guys? Let's see if I can get to... There's Super Boy in the SLS, and then there's B75 in the other Corvette. Super Boy goes 5th fastest, and then Wilo Billy setting a 2:06.565. Next is Mushalat, goes even faster at a 2:05.0. Sorry, I got no idea at a 2:19. So times are falling and are drastically changing. So at the moment, it is Aston Martin, Corvette, and Porsche, and then McLaren in the top 4 with another Mercedes in the top 5. So very interesting qualifying, nonetheless, for a lot of these bad guys. Alt Maverick setting a 2:13.6, so not another good lap there for him, so he's got time to make up, definitely. Grand J10, no improvement, so he's had a very horrendous lap somewhere around the course, but he's gonna have another lap, of course. Most of these guys, at the moment, are gonna have 1 to 2 laps. Kyle is gonna be one of those people, 4/10 up on his 2:03, so he's showing the pace, of course, in the Aston Martin, showing his true championship colors in that 22 machine. Comes out of the chase right now towards Murray's corner for the final bit of the circuit. Very late braking for the Aston Martin. Murray's corner now. Put the power down for the finish. What's it going to be for this man in the Aston Martin as he sets down a 2:02.458? Whew, that is a very fast lap indeed for that driver. 2 seconds clear of the next guy, that is Patrolhead. He will have another lap, of course, to finish, and he is on a charge right there. Patrolhead in the Haas-sponsored Corvette. What's he got in store? He's 4/10 up on Mushalat. Murray's corner now. And what does he have in store? No improvement, so he's got 1 more chance to improve on that 2:04.6. Hopefully try and close the gap on Kyle, of course. There are green flags flying. Oh, someone's had an off somewhere. Oh, and that's B75. That is not good news there. Oh, and sorry, I got no idea. Has gone off with him. Oh, that's not good news right there. Times are continuing to fall. 2:06.1 for Supra Boy, and then Wilo Billy with a 2:05.8. These guys will still have 1 more lap to do. Oh, and sorry, I got no idea. Not the best launch. That might be his day done right there for qualifying, unfortunately. A 2:19.6, so, but he's 6 seconds off the pace of Alt Maverick. Alt Maverick jumping up to 6 with a 2:06.1. That is a good showing right there for that gentleman right there. And Wilo Billy pretty satisfied with that qualifying session in 4th in the Mercedes SLS. So qualifying has finished. You got one more lap to do it. Can the times fall? Can the times fall once again? Kyle now rounding out of the chase. For a 50 right now, so it's going to be pretty close. I don't think he's going to do it, but I'd be really surprised if he's able to. 6, 5, 4. Nah, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I'm unfortunately saying a 2:02.9, a really good final showing for that Aston Martin, but pole position right now at the moment is for Kyle 22. The man in second, Patrolhead in the Corvette. What does he have in store? So this will be the man to look out for in this qualifying session. Rounding the final corner for the last time in this qualifying. Oh, takes the curbing a lot. Oh, and he's binned it. Oh, and that's going to be a granted pole position for Kyle. Full front damage for Patrolhead in the Corvette. So that right there has solidified Kyle's pole position, unfortunately speaking, but a very strong showing for second. It could have been a lot worse. Bouchelot in the Porsche. How has he done? A 2:05.4 is 2.5 seconds. And Superboy has jumped up into second in the Mercedes SLS. And then, of course, Bouchelot goes in the third. So Patrolhead has dropped 2 positions. He could have solidified that second had he not messed up the final corner. So Patrolhead, who was initially second, has dropped drastically into fourth. B75 in the other Corvette has gone up into 8th. And Patrolhead, of course, will most likely be kicking himself for that one. That was not good right there, unfortunately for him. And sorry, I got no ID, still last, unfortunately. But the spoils have been said. Kyle 22 in the number 22 Aston Martin has granted pole position for round 1 of the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship here at Bathurst. And then in second place, Superboy 580 with a strong showing, 2:03.5 in the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG GT3. And then Bouchelot with a last lap ditch and group improvement in the number 37 Porsche 911 RSR, taking 3rd place in the Porsche. And then Patrolhead, of course, who had a final spin out of the final corner, crossed the line second, but in the end has come over 4th. There are your qualifying results: Wilo Billy, Alt Maverick, Grand J10, B75, and then the rest of the field, of course. We hop straight into the race now for round 1 of the Pro-Am Championship of the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. Aston Martin, Mercedes, Porsche, Corvette, Mercedes, and then other Porsche, McLaren, Corvette, Ferrari, and 650, and then the 650S McLaren. Unfortunately, Thai Maiga has not participated in the qualifier, so I assume he is done for the day. 60 minutes now on the clock. It is going to be a standing start right here. Who's going to get the line? Oh, and Wilo Billy has jumped the starts. That's not good news there. Oh, and Kyle's got off to a slow start. Oh, that's not good news for Kyle. What has happened to Kyle right there? That's not good news right there. He's dropped all the way down to 10th. Oh, and Kyle must have been snoozing on the start. That is not good news right there for that man right there. I do not know what happened right there. And that is massive drama as I speak for that driver who is granted pole position, but now has to start from scratch now as Superboy 580R has inherited the lead with a drastic margin over Patrolhead and Alt Maverick. So this is spilling the spoils, obviously. And this is, of course, very, very interesting off the bat. So as we take a look at the field now, Alt Maverick in 3rd, picking up a penalty of some sort. He's probably had contact with the wall at some point in the first lap. And B75, who has gone from starting 8th in this race, has jumped up into 4th. So a massive start right there. He moves out of the way to serve that penalty, of course. Oh, and gets in the way of Grand J10. That is not good in entry on the track. He's still got to serve a bit of that penalty, so... Oh, and Grand J10. Oh, and Alt Maverick's around. Oh, there's contact again. Oh, that is not good right there. Grand J10 trying to force the issue right there, and that has not worked out in his favor. Oh, and can he keep it on track? And Bouchelot has had an incident somewhere, so that is not good news there. The Porsches have who are starting out very strong indeed, has now dropped down massively, unfortunately. And Superboy just continues to leave off by 2 seconds now after this first pretty much hectic, chaotic first lap of this race in the 29, yes, it is the 29 Mercedes of Superboy. So we go down the field once again. Ooh, and Kyle's already making up the ground already into the chase. So after what appeared to be getting stuck on the grid, Kyle has moved his way up back into 5th, and he will be hungry in that Aston Martin right there. Oh, and Grand J10's got it all wrong out of the Murray's corner. He's got to quickly get back on that course. So he was... Ooh, come on, Grand J10, you can do this, big boy. So the McLarens, of course, not having the best luck. Sorry, I got no idea. He was 10th in qualifying, is now 4th, so that's impressive for him as well. The Corvettes have basically shown their muscle as B75 has an incident with the wall. Patrolhead in 2nd, 1.5 seconds behind Superboy. Let's go on board with I'm sorry, right there. Come on, you can do it. Unless it's in variable. Let me try this again, folks. I apologize right there. There we go. That's what I'm looking for right there. So, oh, and look at this now. Patrolhead's all got it wrong as I come back onto him. His teammate's coming. Please, for the love of... Oh, he's reversing back. So that is... Oh, and that's not good news right there. For Patrolhead, who is in 2nd and is now dropping like a rock. Who is now in 7th. He's got to get that car turned around pretty quickly. Oh, and that's not good news for Patrolhead, who inherited 2nd for qualifying, dropped down to 4th, then got the car quickly back up into 2nd, and has now dropped massively down to 9th. So Superboy now has had all the luck he's possibly could have had in the SLS AMG. B75 now in 2nd, and then Kyle, of course, the man on a mission right now, is in 3rd. So this has been a very hectic first couple laps, and I saw a little bit of dirt kick up right there, and B75 is losing a ton of time, 10th by 10th now, over to Kyle. So let's take a look at, let's keep an eye on this battle right now, 4 seconds. So again, what's B75 going to do right now? He's holding the line. Is he going to go to the defense card? Kyle now moving to the inside, but then again he forced the issue. Oh, and it's going to be very close indeed, but B75 keeps that position, of course. And while all this is happening, Superboy is just clocking out and getting away. Sorry, I got no ID. And then Wilo Billy, the 2 Mercedes in the top 5. So very interesting right there. And oh, and B75's got it all wrong as well. That's not good news there. And Kyle has done the work to get back up into 2nd, and he will be furiously hungry for 1st place once again. The 2 Corvettes within the first couple of laps have just gone backwards in this race. Oh, and he's still having problems. Oh, please don't get in the way. Oh, and he spun it again. Oh, and that's not good news for the Corvettes. Within a matter of 2 laps, actually I should say not even a lap, Patrolhead having a spin, and then B75 having more. Oh, and that's a very hard hit indeed into the wall for the Corvette. Oh, and this is a very, very bad showing for these guys in the race. Here's Alt Maverick trying to recover from the incident earlier. Grand J10, Patrolhead, and next is Mushalat, who are all trying to recover from their incidents. And I say that there's a car around somewhere. I'm trying to find out which one it is. I think we might have missed it. Sorry, got no ID. Has picked up a penalty of some sort and Wilo Billy is making a 2 Mercedes is in the top 3. So Sorry, got no ID. Has to unfortunately serve that penalty, and that will not be good news right there. B75 getting it back up into 5th. So not all hope is lost for this Corvette, for the 27 Corvette. And this has just been a very chaotic and hectic start to this race. Only completing 3 laps, we found a complete reshuffle in the grid. And Superboy and Kyle are the two on a mission right now. Superboy, and we're not even 10 minutes into this race, and already crap has hit the fan, so didn't mean to say it in a mean way, but it's just what happens in the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship right there. Now Wilo Billy picking up the pace a little bit from Sorry I Got No ID. I assume Sorry I Got No ID still has that penalty, but he is just losing drastic amounts of time in the McLaren. Ooh, and Grand J10 still trying to get the position from Alt Maverick. Also, if you guys hear do crunching, I do apologize. I'm actually eating a bowl of cornflakes as I speak, so my apologies there. The field now going through the S's. I thought I saw someone getting a little sideways, and I thought it was Alt Maverick, for example. Oh, and he's picked up a half a second penalty, unfortunately, there, which he's gonna have to serve. And Patrolhead making that work easy. Good move right there for, oh, good, well, kind generosity for Alt Maverick right there to get out of the way, unfortunately. So Doug Barrow now is saying it's too loud, so I'm going to put down the cornflakes right now for all of you guys watching the live stream. And I will save that breakfast for the break between the Pro-Am and the Pro races, of course. Whoa, Superboy getting it Tokyo Drift style sideways there out of the first corner of Hell Corner. But keep in mind, you don't want to do that for too much, because you do have an angry Kyle22 coming for you in the second place Aston Martin, who has had a really strong recovery after that first lap of being stuck on the grid. And TIJS saying, what a mess. Yes, I couldn't agree anymore, and certainly probably most of the chat would agree the same way, as well as the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. So now let's go back to the rest of the grid right now. Sorry I Got No ID again picking up a 3/10 penalty right there. And James Head with the commentators are supposed to commentate on the action, not eat during the stream. Hope that gets fixed for next week. Yes, that is getting fixed right now as I speak. The cornflakes have gone off to the side for the time being. And so now, while we take a breather from the first few laps of action that has completely unfolded this race and unraveled most of the running order, let's take a moment to get some hot lap action for you guys, and let's just take a look at the drivers from each point of view. So Superboy 580R going into the chase right now. Of course, the previous gen Mercedes still showing their grunt and still doing the job as expected. But when I say that, there's a car that has gone around somewhere, and it is Alt Maverick. He has picked up some damage, and that is not good news right there, unfortunately. Once again for him in the Fly America sponsored Porsche. So the two Porsches currently occupying 9th and 10th, not having their day so far, but then again, pit stops will play an interesting strategy to this. So that's something we haven't played too much of a factor on for the race. They're sliding a lot, not good for the tires. Yes, they don't want to do that, obviously, because you don't gain time and you lose your tire wear, unfortunately. So that gap from Kyle to Superboy is coming down ever so slightly, so we will keep an eye out for the top two. And Superboy has just done an amazing job from the get-go to keep this car planted on the track and just keep it going, of course. Kyle now 3.6 down off the pace. Wilo Billy about 13 seconds off Kyle. So here's something interesting to take a look at. Superboy with 205s on current pace for the Mercedes, but then you have Kyle, who is basically 2 seconds faster a lap. So he is on a hot mission right now to get that first place back from the guys up front. And I'm seeing in the top corner the comments starting to come in now. So let's take a look at some of the questions you guys are asking. TIJSR, who do you reckon will win? It's still a hot question up for debate right now, but it is going to come down to Kyle or Superboy. So one of those two drivers. I can't say right now because we're only less than 15 minutes into the race. So that is a still hot question still up for debate as I speak. Might be a good battle rising up from Eve Boy. I second that, of course. So what's the times right now coming in? 2:05 dead for Superboy. What's it now? 2:15, I think. Let me double check that, of course. A 2:04.1 from Kyle. So it just didn't want to show up on the little time stamp on the side. So I got that. Looking at this, my NSX is going to struggle in Pro. So the NSX wasn't a car that was evaluated for the evaluation sessions, but that will be an interesting thing to take a look at, of course. Oliver Smalley saying, I know Kyle looks like a pro if you ask me. He might be faster than Pro-Am, but might be slower than Pro, so that will have to be something to take a look at. Fastest lap of the race so far is a 2:03.555 straight for Kyle. Oh, and Superboy using most of the real estate as much as he can to try and find some ground away from Kyle. And that gap now under 2 seconds and is dropping right now. Ooh, Superboy getting a little sideways, of course, so we will take a look at this before the first round of pit stops, I assume within about a couple minutes time. So let's go with Kyle right now on board. What you're seeing is what he is seeing right now. You can see a gold SLS AMG GT3 off in the distance. The gap now 1.2 seconds and is dropping like a stone, slowly but surely. Just listen to the menacing roar of that B12 Vantage on the straightaway. And here's an interesting battle as well between B75 and Wide Load Billy in the Mercedes and the Corvette. Oh, he throws the block slightly, so Wide Load Billy's going to have to do something pretty sneaky here to try and get past. Can he do it in the chase? Most likely. Oh, and he's right on the rear bumper. B75 goes into the defense mode, but can B75 do the over-under? And yes, he can. What a good move right there for the 39 Mercedes. So the move done there, but there is another battle to still be watched and taken a look upon for the lead of the Pro-Am race. And I say that, and I spit all over my desk, so that is something that's not going to have to be done. And Alt Maverick has left the room, unfortunately, so that is a technical retirement for one of the Porsches who looked very good from the get-go, but unfortunately has not worked in their favor, so that is not good news right there, unfortunately. And this battle might not be done and dusted as Wide Load Billy goes a little wide, and they might be going too wide towards turn number 3, maybe. Oh, and B75 just completely got too high on the throttle as well, and he's binned it out of 4th place. Patrolhead, his teammate car, is right there with him. And these Corvettes not having the best of luck as well, but they are still definitely both within the top 5. And Wide Load Billy is just making this Mercedes completely competitive around the Bathurst circuit. So a lot of these front-engine cars are going to be really well. And Mushalat has gotten the car up to 6th, the first of the mid-engine cars, and then Chris the Crow, the next one down, in 7th. And Sorry I Got No Idea, unfortunately, has dropped back all the way to 8th, and then the other McLaren as well. When he just gets in the wall. So the McLarens, they're losing more rear tire wear than anything. So their rear tires are going down a lot quicker than they all expect. So let's go up to the front of the pack once again. So 2.6 now. That gap has definitely gone back up. You definitely know Kyle can definitely go on these tires a little bit longer. But the fuel-wise, that Aston Martin is pretty fuel efficient in itself. 4 hundredths of a second faster Kyle is through Sector 1. So now that gap now quickly going back down to less than a second right now, because I assume Superboy has had an incident somewhere, so this will be interesting to take a look at. Superboy with a 2:04.7 right now as his last fastest lap. Oh, and he's getting a little bit on the grass, so this will be an interesting move to take a look at right here. Oh, and he might be feeling the pressure already from... Oh, and Superboy's picked up a penalty somewhere, so he might have to sacrifice that first place position, unfortunately. And that is not good news right there, but it is definitely good news for Kyle, who has basically pushed his way all the way from in 10th, all the way back up into second for now. And it looks like these cars are pretty dead equal on straight line speed. If not, the Aston Martin might be quicker. So ETHBoy saying Superboy's under investigation because his livery has not got the decals which are needed. At least that's what Elliot is saying. So that will be something to take a look at, of course, right there. Oh, and Kyle's going to go for the move down to the inside of Murray's corner. Can he get the job done? Oh, and there's contact made between the two. Oh, and Superboy picking up another penalty. That's unfortunate right there. And I assume the penalty system not working again in Superboy's favor. He was the one who was defending. He did close the door on Kyle. I don't think he was trying to force the issue, but that unfortunately is a penalty right there. And it looks like Superboy is easily going to get that first place back. Patrolhead now going into the pits right now. Pit stop cycling is starting to happen right now. So let's take a minute to take a look at this for the time being. Fuel going in right now. Let's see when he does come out. Fuel still going in. He came out of 4th. Lost about 3 positions. And sorry, I got no ID as well coming into the pits, so that gentleman will be coming back in. Superboy still not having served the penalty yet, so we will be taking an eye out on these two drivers once again when they will pit. That Aston Martin is really fuel efficient on fuel, so Superboy might be having to be doing some strategy work here for this race. Kyle once again going towards the chase. Can he make the move on the inside of the Superboy? Oh, and Superboy gets forced out onto the grass. He might have shut that door very, very late indeed. And Kyle now will be coming into the pits. And so will Superboy. So this will be interesting to take a look at as the top two now come into the pits with 40 laps, with 20 minutes down on the clock and 40 minutes to go. Here comes Kyle now into the pits now. A 5-liter difference in fuel. A quick change of tires, and then the fuel now going in. Let's see if the fuel rate ratio is different. So let's take a look at that. The necessary fuel needed. He fills up for the rest of the race. And Superboy now just coming out of the pits right now. So about 2 seconds gained for Kyle in that Aston Martin. You got Superboy 580 who has just come out of the pits in front of Wide Load Billy. He will be doing another lap, of course. And B75 as well coming into the pits, of course. for some fuel and tires. Chris the Crow now in the Ferrari, who's still got a plenty load of fuel in that machine, in the Italian Warhorse. Sorry, I got no ID as well coming in. Chris the Crow as well coming in the pits. Grand J10 having a bit of front body work damage, so he's had an incident somewhere on the course. But the race for Pro-Am out front is still on, so don't count these guys out just yet. So now after pit stops have cycled, of course. And Wilo Billy has he put it wrong somewhere on the track? I assume not. These guys still having to do a lot of work to get back up into this race. So, where are the two guys that are still up to pit? Grand J10 is one of those two guys. I say three. Wilo Billy has to come in, and then Mushalat has to make their pit stops. So, the race for the top two is still on because it is within a second of each other, but the race for third place will definitely be interesting as it's preoccupied by Wilo Bill right now. But I say again, to all the Pro-Am competitors right now, oh, and look, I say that right now, Superboy going to make a move on the outside, who is very hard charging indeed, and Superboy is going to get that first place position back. So I assume Wilo Billy, as I say, is coming in. I think Kyle might be saving the fuel a little bit right now, because the pace is all of a sudden picking back right on up. Kyle moving into the slipstream right now to get back in. Wilo Billy now backing down to fourth, but he will have fresher tires off of Mushalat, and Patrolhead now getting back up in front. This race for the front between these two has been very, very interesting to watch nonetheless. The chaos at the beginning, the hardcore racing, and pretty much the strategy, of course, is what's going to make this race very count out for these Pro-Am guys. And then don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, after this race, after the Pro-Am race, we don't have just one league of races, we do also have the pro competitors setting foot on the Bathurst circuit, so that will be something to take a look at as well. But for now, it is still the very close and very dicey Pro-Am battle that we still enjoy watching as well. This battle has been very close indeed. Oh, and Superboy gets it into the wall slightly. That's going to compromise his exit speed, but Kyle having to pretty much back out of that as well because he had to check up majorly for that. So, all things considered, that might have not been the caviar that Superboy might have not wanted, but at the same time, Kyle didn't need also. So, 3/10 separating these two racers, of course. Oh, and Superboy's gone off! Oh, and he's gone off, and I think he's hit the wall! Kyle having to take drastic action to get out of the way. And Superboy, who hasn't really put a foot wrong most of this race, all of a sudden has. He gets really sideways right now. This is not good news right there for the guy who has been leading from the start of this race. If he can get back up to Kyle and pretty much solidify getting back up there, this will be an interesting race to watch nonetheless. Next is Mushalak now coming into the pits right now, having to sacrifice that third position right now over the 44 Corvette of Patrolhead, still trying to make up lost ground after having a pretty abysmal first set of laps in this weekend. Fuel going into that Porsche 911 RSR, the number 37, the last one remaining in this race. Oh, and Grand Shade 10 having another spin right there. And also, I didn't notice this, but of course, we had another technical retirement of Sorry I Got No ID in the, I want to say the 16 McLaren, unfortunately. So, once again, we had another driver who has had another tough race. So we have about 8 cars left in this championship, unfortunately. But we still do have races that are going on the track, as we say, and this is certainly one of them that has been getting a lot of attention right now. Superboy getting back up into first. I'm sorry that I missed it, but of course he has made his way back into this race. So now while this battle is going on, let's take a quick second to take a look at some of the chat that you guys are saying right here. Yeah, there will be, by the looks of it, a few drivers in the grid that are under investigation for not having the necessary decals for the race right there. Kyle now going down to the inside once again, and they just slam each other once again. Superboy's got to make sure he leaves that space open for Kyle when he makes an overtake, of course, because that's not good news right there. And they don't look like to have any damage. Grand J10 now finally coming into the pits, but will be a lap down. Or I want to say at least 2 laps down. Nope, he is a lap down now, unfortunately. So that is one of the 7 cars on the lead lap right now. Most of the other drivers are on the Chase and the Conrad straight, of course. And some of them going to the final corner right now. Superboy now fighting his way back. This has been a very, very tense fight between these two drivers. So unfortunately, as I'm reading the chat in the YouTube section, we are hearing some speculation that the Mercedes of Superboy and the Mercedes of Wide Load Billy, I assume, will not be having any straight line motorsports gear. Well, it looks like they have them on the side of the cars. You can see there as it's passing by now. They do look like they have their straight line motorsports decals, so I'm not sure what the necessary investigation is for these two drivers. They do have the decals. I'm just not sure if the others are seeing them correctly, as you can see right there as well on the Wide Load Billy. So they are there. The straight line motorsports decals are there. I'm just not really sure on the necessary decals that aren't on the car. And Superboy once again making it pretty easy for now for himself to get past Kyle. But these two are still looking to be too wide. Once again, Kyle now muscling his way back up to the front of the field right now. And of course taking back that first place position. Oh, and Superboy's got a little wide, but somehow is still alongside the Aston Martin right there. This is impressive racing at its finest, but he's taken a penalty. Another penalty handed to the Mercedes of Superboy. That is not good news once again. But can he try and make the move stick and possibly try and get his way back up to the front? So the steward is saying that it is missing the number plate and the category decal. So they're missing the number plate needed for the race and for the classification of car that they are in. So they're missing the number plate. So they're just running stock numbers as is. And they're not running the GT Pro Am sticker, unfortunately. So that might be the reason why the investigation is under place. So that is not good news there. Because if they don't score points, they might solidify the position, but this would mean an even bigger points gap for Kyle over Patrolhead, who might, for Superboy, will not be scoring points. These two still nose to tail, of course, even coming through Skyline as per usual. And I say that now, there is another battle that has unfolded in the Pro-Am in this race. B75 and Mushalat still racing hard. I think Superboy just took the time to write the... So let's take a second here. I assume that's what he's talking about here as he makes a move again for the lead of this race in terms of Pro-Am. But is not on Whitelow Billy's car as well, so that might be another issue. So he might take this to later investigation after the race, I assume, but So after being away from the commentary box for about a good solid maybe 10-20 minutes-ish or so, the battle for the front still continues on, with Kyle now still defending from Superboy 580R in the Mercedes, and Kyle now still in the Aston Martin and doing a good job. There is Grand J10, who is still a lap behind, but has made some slight ground up over the past couple of laps or so. The final wave of pit stops are still coming in for these guys. Mushalat now getting back up into third, has held that position for quite a while now, who has done a pretty good job on doing so. But the battle for the front now still about to heat up right now. These guys have been extremely close to each other, still all within about 3 seconds of these two. So it's very interesting to keep an eye out on what these guys will do from here on out. The tires will hopefully last, the fuel will hopefully last. So Kyle now better on fuel over Superboy, so that will be quite the thing to take a look at right here. Let's take a look, quick second to take a look at some battles that are still going on. So Wilo Billy over Patrolhead in the Mercedes. Still having to defend that 4th place position, but all hope is not lost in this race. B75 now in the other Corvette, the 27. The only American driver on the field. In 6th. These 2 Corvettes haven't had the best of luck today, but of course, it kind of looks like the podium positions are going to be sorted out. So we will have the guys come in for the Pro-Am podium interviews. So to the guys joining, please be ready for that as well. This battle's still really heating up right now. They're literally side by side right now going into the 2nd corner here. Finishing off the chase. Or, I'm sorry, not the chase. Oh, and there's contact between another. Superboy 580 just squeezing out Kyle down into 2nd right now. So Kyle might have some challenges to work with for the rest of the race right there. And Olin gets very sideways once again. Let's take a quick onboard, of course, inside the Aston Martin right there. Just super, super close between these 2 drivers all race long. Just they've had a bit of argy-bargy moments right there, but they've just continued to keep it close to one another. So this is going to be here right now. Oh, and Superboy gets a little wide towards Skyline, but Kyle, can he make something work? Oh, and he's going to try and make the move stick on the Skyline, and he actually does it work. That's not a place where you usually overtake, but somehow Kyle has made the move stick. That is really impressive stuff right there for the defending Pro-Am champion, of course. So now it's Superboy's 580's turn to try and get back into this race. He's going to have the slipstream, of course, and the power advantage. And it's going to make this overtake work out really, really quickly indeed for this race. And they're still kind of maintaining the speed. They're 2 literally side by side, just literally separated by just mere thousandths of a second. Oh, and there's contact to be made right there. Superboy going a little bit briefly onto the grass, but still kept it under control. Kyle right now going a little wide into the corner. So Superboy has now got back up into 1st. So I don't know what happened there. Kyle might have gotten a little hot on the brakes. And now Superboy back up in front. So White Little Billy now in the 3rd. Mushalot just come out of the pits. So this will be interesting within the last 13 minutes of this race how Mushalot can be able to make that position stick. And these 2 are 31 seconds off ahead of Wide Little Billy. And this has just been a very, very close and chaotic race. As Superboy goes wide and opens the door for Kyle, who takes that position back up in front. So these 2 are not leaving each other any room one bit at all. So here's the good thing, at least Kyle doesn't have to make any room. So there is my roommate as he leaves the room. Of course, he was just at Watkins Glen today, so that he had a good time right there. So Hair Razor's saying, where is the commentary? Of course, roommates went up to Watkins Glen, asked me to go, and of course, I decided to stay for this, and of course I did for a very interesting race and a very chaotic and hectic all-round race. This running order has been pretty much just shuffled up and down the order. And of course, to the guys running in Pro-Am and Pro, just be aware that we will have podium interviews. So we will interview the guys from 3rd, 2nd, and 1st in this race. I will say it again in the Discord. Oh, and there's a bit of holding up right there. I completely missed it and was typing away in the Discord, so I completely missed that. I look up and Superboy is going sideways. Oh, and they're both going sideways. This is going to be a very, very close race with just under 11 minutes to go. I look down at my phone, typing something into the Discord, and of course, 1 second later, I see Superboy going completely sideways and having to go straight into the front of high right now. So 6/10 the gap is, but do not lay your eyes off of this battle, which has gone very interesting. Oh, and someone's gone off. I assume that's, yep, that is Grand J10, unfortunately, so he has not had a good day. He is parking up the car. No, he's just letting the traffic on by, so he's not wanting to get in anybody's way. Gentleman-like driver right there, but just not having the day that he is expecting it to. So these guys, once again, just completely bumper to bumper, as per usual. These guys are going to have a very interesting battle all season long. Now, I do not know who it was. TIJSR. Who do you reckon will win? At this rate, it is too close to call with just under 10 minutes to go. So, for the past 50 minutes, we've been monitoring this whole race performance. Kyle, of course, was the expected one to pretty much just be the one to dominate this race. Not so much this time. Superboy just giving him the challenge that someone is actually finally challenging Kyle for a potential Pro-Am championship, of course. So while I guess we have a break in the action, of course, let me take a second to type in the Discord real quick. Message sent once again into the Discord, and Superboy just getting back up into the race. So once again, the Mercedes, most likely the underdog machine of here, and Aaron the Gamer, love your vid, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Aaron the Gamer. We do appreciate all the upcoming members and the appreciation for the YouTube channel and for the videos. So we do hope you enjoy the content. There are a lot more action to be had within the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. And these two, once again, not laying an inch off of each other. We still got a couple laps of racing to go, but with just over 8 minutes to go, and they both, oh Jesus, they both forced each other into the wall. And these two are just completely sideways right now. But the racing is fine, but the interesting thing about this, Superboy might not be able to inherit this win because of the fact that he's missing the championship decals that he's needing for this series. So, I assume Kyle's going to go for it. Yes, he is, again into Skyline. Once again, complete control of that car, and it's just not laying a finger wrong in any part of this race. Last lap from Superboy, a 2:04.191, so that's his personal fastest lap of the race when he needs it. And Kyle just, with the 2:03s he's been setting early in the race, it's been at least 1 to 3 seconds off that fastest lap he set early in the race. So he still has that fastest lap of 2:03.555. But this is certainly providing some entertaining racing to be had within the SLM GT3 Championship for Pro-Am, obviously. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we still have the Pro competitors to still come in. Yes, we unfortunately had a delay as Kyle now goes a little wide off into the grass. So, like I said, we will still have the Pro competitors, so make sure you have the necessary championship decals as stated. So you don't want to be like some of the gentlemen on the track at the moment. So, in terms of post-race interviews, I'm not sure if we're going to get Superboy 580R or Wide Load Billy, because they are first, third, but considering the fact that they're not having their necessary championship decals, into this race. So we'll continue to monitor that for the time being. But as of for now, it's trying to fix something up with the microphone. I apologize for that in advance. Patrolhead having to make a late stop at the end, so this will be interesting indeed, as Mushalat now will actually jump back and forth. This will be a splash and dash to the end. He probably could have made it on the fuel. Yeah, he was just a little short, unfortunately, and he's actually come out in front, and actually his Patrolhead's come out behind Mushalat, so he will have some work to do, unfortunately, to probably get that position. Grand J10 now having to last out a little longer on those worn tires, worn Michelin tires. The McLaren just not being the vital chassis for today, so this will be, once again, a tough outing for this squad here at Bathurst. The battles still at front are still raging on, so don't count these guys out of the question just yet. And I have just gotten word, and oh, there's a massive crash right there for Kyle and Superhero. Oh, I'm pretty sure I briefly got that. Of course, I'll have to take a look at that once again in the Discord. So there may have been a little blocking and shoving right there. Oh, and I think Superboy I'm watching the replay now from the live stream. It looks like Superboy got very sideways into the chase, completely came back on course and just ran off Kyle off the track. So that's what I got from the race live stream on Facebook. And I'm getting word now that, yeah, so unfortunately with the delays that we've been having this race, there will be no post-race interviews this time for this race, but hopefully in the next races we won't have any issues and we'll be able to resume like normal for the race. Then again, there is the possibilities of just having the... Oh, and Kyle goes off the line, and so does Superboy. We could have just the drivers come into the party, have that sorted, and then have Elliott just set up the room. These two aren't laying a finger off each other. We have 3 minutes to go left in the race. I do not know what the issue is with the mic, and these two are still going scrobbly sideways with each other. So while Elliott sets up the race for the pro guys, I'm sorry for my voice crack, we will still have the Pro-Am category. We still have the Pro-Am category interviews, but we will have to be on a pretty quick set of interviews here for the time being. So I won't ask a lot from these Pro-Am drivers, but we will have to be quick in getting the pro guys set up and ready to race as well, so. And with just about possibly 2 laps to go, including this one, this will be a very good fight to the finish, as I say. Oh, and Superboy's gone into the wall, not a good time to do it, but Kyle has gone very sideways out of that corner, so that might have mitigated the gap. He's now 1 second right now, but these two have been pretty much just, and I say literally, just beating each other to the brim, to the point where the most aggressive one wins. It ain't slow and steady wins the race. It is literally about beating each other up and having the luck stone to your side. And Wilo Billy now pretty much solidified himself in 3rd. There is another driver off course, and that is Grand J10. So that is not another. So once again, just not a good day for that gentleman right there. So the gap now increasing. These guys might have finally started some separation into each other. And Kyle might be looking on taking the first win of the season here for the Pro-Am Championship. So rounding out of the chase. We will be inviting these guys in for the post-race interviews. Now with 32 seconds left on the clock, these guys will get one more lap, but I do not think Wilo Billy will get another lap with the time glitch incorporated into GT Sports. So this will be an interesting thing to take a look at. These two guys will get another lap, but as for Wilo Billy, I do not think he will get another lap. We will have to take a look at this, and he will probably just solidify that third place. I stand corrected. He will actually get another lap. So, with all things considered, he will solidify that penalty and get another lap. Oh, I stand corrected. He will come home and actually take third. So these guys now getting the final lap warning. The Corvettes, B75 and Patrol Head, gonna take 4th and 5th. Had a strong showing earlier, but just didn't work out. I will invite the top 3, including Kyle, Superboy, and Wilo Billy, in for post-race interviews. But the race results will still be determined. Kyle now, 3.8 seconds ahead, has finally created some separation from these two guys, and has just finally found the space they needed literally at the end of this race. So the race-long battle right now, not so much going to come down to the wire at the end directly, but for once, Kyle can breeze off, go off into the distance, and finally just relax and just take this victory, of course. 8 tenths up on his fastest time, so a 2:02 is definitely on the cards. Maybe. But we still have a couple more drivers to come around. Oh, and there's a yellow flag for Grand J10, who is well out of the way for these two guys. And I assume Superboy as well. So he doesn't want to get in the way too much. But coming around for the final time, around the final corner, it is going to be Kyle 22 in the 22 Aston Martin, who is the defending Pro-Am champion, will win the Pro-Am race at Bathurst. So, and we also have Superboy in the background taking 2nd place. So, while all this is settled, we will invite in the Pro-Am podium finishers from that race. So, we invite in Kyle, invite in Wilo Billy, and we invite in Superboy. So we will invite in these guys into the party box, in the commentary box, I should say, for the post-race interviews. So here are the podium finishers. We have Superboy and we have Wilo Billy in the 2 Mercedes. Gentlemen, congratulations on the really impressive racing right there. Superboy, now, of course, that was a very difficult race for you right there. How would you describe that? Basically, an incredible race for you right there in the Mercedes. Not much to be had, I guess. Yes, sounds like it. Yeah, so Wilo Billy, after the evaluation sessions you guys had last week, it was a very impressive showing for P3 and that other sister Mercedes car. How would you describe your race as well? Yeah, sounds like it was a very interesting race, but of course there was the falters for the rest of the field, but you were able to just keep your heads on and be able to focus on in the race. So yeah, it was yeah, and as I speak to that now, we have our first place winner in the Pro-Am category. We have Kyle 22 here who I would say literally beating each other to death right there for that first Pro-Am win of the season right there. Kyle, how would you also describe your race as well? Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, most of the paddock was assuming that Kyle was going to stream off in the distance, but it wasn't so much this time. It was basically a literal fight to the death, obviously. So, kudos to you guys. I know we don't have much time for everybody, so. Yeah, that's yeah. But once again, guys, congratulations on the race today, and congrats to Kyle for the Pro-Am first win of the season right there. And also to everybody watching in the stream, we appreciate you guys for coming on, and we will see you guys for the pro race as well. So, to all the drivers, thank you for racing, and we will see you guys next time.